On November 1st, soon after we recorded this episode of the Rap Life Review, we learned that Kersnick Kari Ball, who we know as Takeoff, was gunned down near a dice game in Houston, Texas. We send love and light to his family and friends. We wrap our arms around each other and the whole hip-hop community. Another young brother cut down too soon. Takeoff showed us so much love here at Apple Music and the whole Apple Music family. Migos showed us so much love. QC always showing us love. And we love y'all right back, man. The only thing that's gonna get us through this tough time is love. Ladies and gentlemen, another episode of the Rap Life Review. We are here. We're gonna cover some music. Are we?
We're gonna cover some music?
We're gonna talk about some music this week. We're gonna start with Kodak Black, new album, Cutthroat Bill, Volume 1. It's debuted number 3 on the top albums chart in Apple Music. You know, Kodak Black's moving out here. Big fans. He got big fans. And I think, you know, he's got this kid, Prince Swanee, on there from Trinidad, who has a Trinidad movement, who I really like, Prince Swanee. A bunch of other people I heard. I did not get to ride to the album. I only kind of skimmed through the Kodak Black album. But one thing I think, look, Kodak Black could be annoying with all his shenanigans like a lot of people nowadays. But one of the things I really enjoy, and I've always enjoyed about Kodak Black, is his rapping ability, and B, his transparency in his own challenges and struggles and kind of dealing with the stuff he's always dealing with, from it sounds like he's dealt with and acknowledges dealing with depression and being depressed and anxiety and these other things. And I just like hearing that from Kodak. You get all the other ignorant parts too, but you know, I do think as a young artist, Kodak sharing, I think, is pretty dope. Baby Keem put out the deluxe of his Melodic Blue. I don't know if you guys got into that, but there's some fire in there too.
Cool
sampled
things.
The Fugees, sampled some other things. Very dope.
Yeah, I like the interlude. The Fuji sample is really good. It's like a good addition, a nice like 7 songs to complement Melodic Blue.
I sat with it for a second. It was cool. Like, you know, nothing that stood out, but it was like a continuation of what, you know, I already heard. So I was cool with it.
And then on the R&B side of things, SZA put out a new single called Shirt, debuted number 3.
She was teasing this one last year at the end of one of her videos. So it took a minute for us to get this. I mean, what we're really waiting for is the whole SZA album.
Yeah.
All these singles are cool. We've been getting a couple of records, some collaborations. Chill, it's been a few years. I'm ready, it's time. Okay.
Yo, SZA, they getting fed up, B. Deliver the album.
What was the Rihanna one? Lift Me Up?
Lift Me Up is the name of it.
Okay.
Don't play with the Rihanna fans, doggy. Get it right, man. It's called Lift Me Up. And it's off the Black Panther soundtrack.
Yeah.
Did you expect something different from Rihanna?
No.
Did you have an expectation?
With this, I knew exactly what I was getting.
Really? And how?
Like uplifting, melodic, you know, just spiritual. Like I can't get anything else from her on this, you know, soundtrack.
You think so? The first Black Panther soundtrack also had some like fire upbeat records.
Yeah, but
so I didn't necessarily go into it. Not that this song is bad, especially since it's a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. But I personally did not expect like this tempo for the first Rihanna song.
Makes complete sense.
Okay.
So when you heard it, you were like, "Oh, this makes sense." So you didn't really, like me, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I heard it, it made, like, as Lo said, when it came on, I was like, oh, Black Panther soundtrack. It all started to click. It made sense. The right thing. Boom, boom. But wasn't there supposed to be 2 songs?
We heard she did 2 songs.
But we don't know if there's 2 songs on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also saw something yesterday very interesting, that this week coming up, she's dropping another single written by The Dream and James Fauntleroy.
Oh, where'd you read that, son?
Said it on like Rihanna updates and whatever the case is. I don't know. It came across my timeline last night and I saw it, so.
Okay.
And that's supposed to be this week?
It's supposed to be this Friday, the 4th.
Now, I think the whole soundtrack comes out.
Because the movie comes out the 11th.
Right. I think the whole soundtrack comes out November 4th.
Okay.
For the whole Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
And then the movie's out the following week.
Yes.
So it's like Rihanna soundtrack, movie. So now we got to get into y'all's favorite part of the program, the Kanye West.
You mean the fan comments?
Well, before we get to the fan comments, it's just the Kanye West segment, right? Because the saga of Kanye West, his anti-Semitism, him losing all of his business deals, has now played all the way out to apologies.
What if the fan comments are related? I think we should address this first one and then dive right into the Kanye thing.
Okay, go
All right, so here we go. So for this one, guys, Kanye had bipolar disorder. He says, basically, I'm really upset because Rap Life Review and every other media outlet seems to have forgotten that mental health is real. He's highly grandiose. He's chasing his own personal destruction, and he doesn't give up on his opinion despite repercussions and cannot rationalize all facts. Ebro, how are you not seeing this? Nadeska, I'm disappointed. Low, I mean...
Am I even in the comment, or
you're there, but it's
low?
I mean, it's a lot.
I'm just like a blurt. Like,
well, no, they laughed at you. They said low. I mean, like as if, you know.
All right, okay. I'll just let y'all two go ahead.
But he's no. You should weigh in.
But I don't know if the laugh was like, we know what you gonna say, or if the laugh was like, of course you're not thinking about it because you don't even care about him like that. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, I think it's that. I'm sorry,
but guys, please look into mental health. It's real. And someone else says in the comments, his bipolar disorder doesn't excuse his actions or consequences. So I want to say that we have spoken about his mental health before, and I would say for anyone who has not seen the 3rd episode of Genius, because a lot of people watched the first 2 then gave up, there is this scene where Kanye is having a conversation, I believe, with an executive, and it gets so uncomfortable to watch because you could see that he's not fully coherent. It's like he's sort of in and out, and his voice stopped recording. He said he didn't feel comfortable recording the rest of the conversation. So I do think this is a good point that you bring up. It's something that's always in the back of my mind. But Nori also said something that I think was really important when he was on the show. He said, the Kanye he spoke to before the camera started rolling was completely different. It seemed like he knew exactly what he was doing. He was very coherent in the moment, and then the cameras turn on, and then it switches up. So while I do think this is true and that his mental health is an issue, sometimes it seems intentional, these things that he's doing.
And I guess from people who know more about mental health than I do, I've also had these discussions, and it could be both. It could be all the above, which makes this whole situation that much more complicated.
Right.
Is because, as the person here says, his bipolar disorder doesn't excuse his actions or his consequences. If, it's true and someone told you that you were supposed to take your medicine because
choosing not to take care of yourself and knowing you're doing hurtful things.
It, and then having people go, what's going on, or you have repercussions for your actions. And it's always weird too, like the whole, like I'm having a mental health crisis, and then people go into being racist and anti-Semitic and bigot. I don't know how that goes though. Like how do you jump to like is that a part of the I don't know enough, so I don't want to poke fun, but it's always, because this isn't just even Kanye. I've seen this with other people where they're like, oh, they're having, and they just started going on N-word rants because they were having some sort of, and you're like, but how does
that correlate?
What part of your programming jumped you to
that?
I'm gonna do racial slurs or things that are hateful and harmful to verbally to people but I don't know enough. So I don't know how this works, but I do appreciate this individual pointing that out. But yes, Kanye's a grown-up, and if you're not gonna deal with your issues and then you're gonna let them play out,
as someone who has a lot, you have a lot of resources. Exactly. Some people can't, they don't have the proper help and care for something like this. I mean, he has all the resources in the world.
The mental health thing has been a conversation for the last maybe 4 or 5 years with him. And it's always a reoccurring thing of yo, he's not well, he's not thinking straight. But now, after the world crumbles right in front of him, now he wants to say, well, I didn't take my meds, I'm bipolar, this, that, and the third. Why is it now, because your world is crumbling in front of us, that you can lean on that now?
Well, because it's all a money grab, it's all a grift, guys.
So that's your favorite word when you talk about it.
All of it's a grift, right? The divisive conversations and the hateful conversations around Jewish people provoke other religious groups to begin to raise money from their constituency. It also raises money for other, different activist groups. All of this divisive stuff is, for Kanye, a grift too, because it ingratiates him to certain groups that then want to then be highly, engaged with his brands and things like that. I find it interesting. Here's a clip of Kanye apologizing. He went and sat down with this, I think this guy's like an MIT, some super smart dude who also happens to be Jewish. A lot of people have gone on this podcast. Kanye's on the podcast apologizing.
So before God, what I would do is start off as a samurai and say, I'm sorry for hurting you. as a Jewish person. I'm sorry for the way that made you feel. And I'm sorry for the entire population of a race that I feel is actually my brothers, because I classify and feel that I'm also connected with Christ in that way, that my people came from Africa and that way. And I can't say it's this exact teaching or that exact teaching, but I feel that there's an important, the sons of Abraham, however we want to word it, right? For us to come together and bring our different talents together to serve God collectively. And he, as much of an alien as I am, he did not call for me to alienate.
There you have him apologizing. I don't know if people have seen that clip. It's been shared a lot. But then here's another clip after that podcast where Kanye says he was misdiagnosed, tries to refrain from saying that the doctor who misdiagnosed him was Jewish but couldn't help himself.
The thing about the red hat that drove me to a point of exhaustion, which was misdiagnosed by I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor.
So now the interesting piece for me is, let's say the doctor did misdiagnose you. Is that because he's Jewish? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So all doctors who happen to be Jewish are bad because this one individual.
Because I don't know why you're mentioning.
Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Right. So,
other than being what is known as a bigot and thus being anti-Semitic. So that hopefully that plays out for people why it's a problem, right? Because when you have an individual who happens to be something, and then maybe you have a bad experience with that individual, it doesn't mean that everybody who is also from that group is also a bad individual.
And if you're not going to change your mind and take back the whole thing the next day and contradict it, then what are we really doing? He wasn't sorry. I want to ask you a question. So you said all of this was so he could be a martyr. And my point was once he started losing money, then he was going to feel a little bit different. That's why he's fake apologizing. What was he doing at Skechers? Can anyone tell me what he was doing at Skechers HQ? So Adidas deaded him.
Which is owned by a Jewish... Go ahead, my fault.
Yeah, but I mean, what was he doing there?
Clearly,
is he going to bring Yeezy to Skechers? Is that where this is going because he lost the Adidas money?
I don't know. Yeezy is already at TJ Maxx and Marshalls.
No, they deaded him too.
They deaded him too.
Oh, he out of there.
Yeah,
he's out of everywhere. Should we list everywhere that's deaded him? The money's really starting to...
I think a family...
Well, remember his billionaire status, which is a whole side part of this story. The billionaire status of Kanye was based on the evaluation of his deals. It wasn't actually $1 billion in...
It wasn't assets and liquid like...
And we know he cared deeply about being a billionaire.
Deeply.
So now what's going to happen?
And Kanye cares about ranking and he cares about money. This is all about money.
Yeah. But he's losing money, so why? This is what I don't really understand.
Well, you're trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense.
It's just like, then why are we having this conversation?
How long? I'm just saying, how long are we going to try to continue to evaluate or explain or excuse or tolerate?
The tolerate part.
Because like the George Floyd comment, right?
Yeah.
And we was in the parking lot. He said, I now know what it feels like to have a knee on my neck.
So when I said that, and I questioned the death of George Floyd, it hurt my people. It hurt the black people. So I want to apologize to hurting them because right now God has shown me by what Adidas is doing and by what the media is doing, I know how it feels to have a knee on my neck now.
People came for him. Cooked it.
Because of a financial setback.
That's right.
That you caused. Completely of your own making.
There's no pairing of how someone died.
Losing their life.
On camera.
That's right.
By you losing, what, 400 million? But you're still 400 million richer than that man is because now he's...
Well, you still have your life.
You're just oblivious.
You see how you just slipped into what Nadeska slipped into, and I've done it too. You're not alone. The reason it continues to cover, and we cover it, is because we see not only his actions, but we continue to see comments from people on social media that think what he's doing is okay. Kanye West is the type of person that wants, as we've discussed, to get an emotional reaction from individuals. So it's not about, for him, I think sometimes whether he's right or wrong, it's what he wants to believe and what he wants to push forward, regardless of how it makes people feel, until he's forced in some way, shape, or form to apologize. Making sense of it is, I think, a waste of time. Watching it and trying to break down some of the dangerous parts, I think, isn't a waste of time. Teaching people about anti-Semitism and the nuances of even understanding Jewish people. Like, a lot of people don't know there's only 20 million Jewish people around the world. They don't know that it's a very small group and that has been under attack for centuries, and that it consists of not only European people, but people of Arab descent, people of African descent, people who speak Spanish, people who speak, you know, all types of languages, German, all over the planet there's Jewish people. People don't know that.
And I don't want to get too deep, and I understand it's just...
Too late.
Well, yeah, clearly. Why, when that whole slavery was a choice thing happened, the uproar that we're experiencing right now, the conversations we're having right now, we're not as in depth?
I specifically recall.
No, I mean, there's certain
having
people,
these discussions,
but
people were getting into the psychology of black folks. People were having think pieces on the whole thing.
Why would the uproar? Just looking at him individually, the uproar he's going through, financially, mentally, family, all that other stuff, just from one comment.
Yeah.
Why is that uproar so bigger than that conversation about slavery?
Well, so let me ask you, after Kanye made the slavery was a choice comment, right? He had an event at his house or his ranch in Wyoming.
That was the Ye album?
Right, didn't he have an album release a little bit after that?
Yeah, like Chris Rock, Nas, a bunch of...
So a bunch of black folks showed up on camera to support him and say that this is our brother. They rallied around him. No, this is our brother. We're not gonna let this happen to our brother. So you have black folks. So is the expectation that corporate America on black folks' behalf is gonna be angry and upset about something that all black folks ain't mad about? So white-run corporations gonna come out and cancel Kanye West on behalf of black people. That's the expectation. Meanwhile, influential black people are at his crib taking photos and dancing around a bonfire.
This was my point last time. It doesn't matter. We're always gonna forgive him or try to explain it and embrace.
Tell me how that would have played out. When you had influential black folks going, nah, this our brother, he with us, he's good. And then so Adidas is gonna come along and be like, nah, we cancel him because we don't like what he said, even though y'all don't have a problem with it.
But like I said, when Nori was here, and I continue to say, it feels like we're never gonna shut him out. And it's coming out, someone who grew up loving this man and having the utmost respect for him. I never really want to talk about him again. I don't want to listen to any of his music again, except the first few albums, because those are classics. No, I'm kidding. But I don't want to hear it. No,
and Kanye knows. Kanye knows that we not letting go of them albums.
That's fine. But I'm saying anything moving forward, I don't care. I'm good to never talk about him or never acknowledge him again.
We say this every week.
I know, but I'm saying as a culture, when will we do this? Is that a thing?
He continues to introduce us to a new episode of what the
Well, because it's called equity. He's got equity with us.
Mental equity, social equity.
And this is our
with
job,
us. He's got he's got
Yeah.
equity with us because he's someone that we love.
Influential black people are never going to cut Kanye off. So it doesn't matter.
No,
he can say whatever he wants
there's
about
absolutely
us.
black folks that are
Where
absolutely.
are other artists going to cut him off? That's something I don't see happening.
There's some people
if
you
Kanye
have not heard.
If Kanye tried to put out an album next year and he called up some young rappers, you don't think they would still be on the album?
The young ones, absolutely.
Yeah, they lost.
They gonna go wherever. They gonna find an excuse to get one of them Kanye beats.
All right, man.
They gonna find an excuse to get some Kanye
It's
production.
America. What a lawless
But no.
place.
But there's other powerful people who have clearly, like, you don't even hear. They're not even mentioning
Black
Kanye's
people?
name. Yes. You ain't heard. Hov ain't said nothing.
Well, clearly y'all know how we feel.
Doesn't
So
matter.
in the
It doesn't
comments,
matter
let us know
we
how you feel.
I'm a very forgiving person.
Oh my God,
Alright.
what are you saying now to this
I don't forget.
We just had.
I forgive. I don't forget. Listen, y'all know look, if you go back on and run your searches from the Donald Trump, I've been telling y'all this. When your man did the step and fetch around the desk in the White House and hugged Donald Trump and called Donald Trump his dad while his own father was in the room. Everybody was cool with that. I wasn't cool. Now, because Kanye done botched it, Diddy's now back in the Billionaire Club.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yo, Puff is the first black mogul I ever knew and looked up to. So
I'm over it.
in my mind, he's been a billionaire since I was like 10 years old.
There you go.
So
And
it's
by
fire.
the way, has so much more money than everyone in this room.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Like, it's not even, I don't even know. Like, they throw billionaire around so crazily. Like, it's just regular. You know how much?
It's
Most
not.
people don't even know what $1 billion actually is. Can your
It's
brain
too
wrap
many
around
O's.
$1 billion?
Yeah, it can. It
Explain.
actually
Explain.
Where
can.
would you put those assets? You wouldn't even know
Explain
how to
what $1
how to
billion
stash
is.
billion.
No, I'm not saying I know what it feels like to have
No,
a
no, no,
billion,
but explain what $1 billion is.
Explain what $1
It's
billion
right after the million.
is.
It's right after the million. That's
No,
a
it's
billion.
right after
Right, am I?
999
million.
million.
Yeah, so right after that million, boom, billionaire. Cheers.
It's been a Rap Life Review, man. We'll see y'all next week. For Low and Nadeska, I'm Ebro. Please subscribe. Leave your comments. Shout to, let's see, this is Thando Dlamini, who says Ebro is deep in those people's pockets. I think he is meaning Jewish people, because somebody below says he half J. They didn't want to say Jewish in the comment. They were afraid to say the word Jewish. Yeah, my mom is Jewish, but the people we work for at Apple are not. So,
All right.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Rap Life Review. If you enjoyed what you saw, just show us that it's real. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment so we can hit you back on next week's episode.